Hello and welcome to Cinemondo, and I have a special guest, Nona
Hi
Prince.
guys.
Hello. So I came across your channel and it's just awesome. I love your just really
Thank you.
concise Indian, film reviews, and also you talk about the business, you talk about all the feelings around the cinema and everything else. It's really really cool and inclusive. So I would advise anyone to go see this cool website, Nona Prince. All right, so tell me a little bit about how you came into doing your channel about Indian films.
So first of all, thank you for having me on the channel,
Yeah.
Kathy, and thank you for reaching out. And it's always great to talk about Indian cinema with other people who love watching movies.
Yep.
And I've been started my channel in 2016. I just finished my high school and was going to college, and I just love talking about films. There was no one around there who cared, so look, I'll put it on internet, and maybe some two people will watch it, and I'll be happy. But yeah, it grew from that. So yeah, now that's what I do. Talk about
It's
films,
awesome.
do a lot of breakdowns, reviews, live streams, and yeah, that's my life now, and I'm happy.
That's the dream. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I could just talk about movies all day long, literally. Um, I do movie advertising. I do like movie
Oh,
posters and marketing, whatever's on digital. You've probably seen a bunch of them out there. I would love to do some Indian posters, but they don't need me. Their good posters and marketing are like amazing.
there are few people who need.
They're pretty a few people need us. Oh, please, please hire me to do your posters. I'm always impressed by the marketing because they do so many elements of the marketing that I don't see in American films, including like, teaser trailers, teasers to teaser trailers, teasers to the motion posters. I mean, just amazing buildup, like ramping up,
Yeah.
and then the posters are super lush and really polished, and it's very impressive. So I decided, since this is the weekend that Vikram Vedha came out, that it would be great to talk to you about comparing the two films, because it was a remake of a Tamil film,
Yeah.
and it's out now in theaters. The new one starring Hrithik Roshan and Saif Ali Khan. So what we can do is we can just start off with, how do you feel about the first film, and then we'll move on from that.
Yeah. So I think for people who haven't seen the first one and saw this one, I feel envy because they could experience that story in the big screen. Because I think I saw it on my laptop. That was not a good one. But I think when I saw it, I was just blown away just how they take that concept of the legend or the folklore of Vikram Betal, and how they turn it into such an interesting screenplay, and
Yeah.
over that with such great performances. I did have some issues, some tonal issues with the film. It's for very inconsistent, and especially the climax where it just become too goofy for my taste, and just the seriousness is out of the window. So that just really, I was not happy at all with that. But
Mm.
overall, the concept, and I just like when I love commercial cinema. I love good, well-made films,
Yep.
and when they're combined together, that's like the sweet spot. So
Oh, so good.
always a fan of that.
Exactly. And that's where I think, it's so rare to find people who can hit the sweet spot. So when you see it, you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, this is like so much better than I thought it was going to be." Because when I started watching even the first one, I was like, "Okay, here we go. It's going to be on these cop action, you're kind of almost in a lull, like anticipating, okay, here's a good guy, here's a bad guy, and they're going to fight it out, and just formulaic." And then it starts adding a different layer, and it starts adding a cool structure with the stories, and it starts adding a little bit more complication with the side characters, and then you start filling in the blanks between these two characters, and the bad deeds they both did, and how they relate in a context of good and evil, and then as it's sort of building and building, the layers are getting more and more complicated. You're like, this is not just your average action movie. So I was kind of blown away by that, because I felt like I was seeing background on a character that we don't normally see in action films. The way
Yeah.
they would go into a background, and then all of a sudden you're realizing that the tables are kind of turning that way because of how he interacts with people around him. And that was really impressive. And so when this new one was coming out, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see how they update this now, because they're going to got bigger budget, a little more polished. And I was also really happy to see the same directors, because that doesn't happen
Yeah.
that often, that they get to remake
Yeah.
their own film. I don't know how
It
that
has
works.
becoming a, yeah, it's I just don't, I don't know, maybe as a creative person, I just it's like shooting a video and then making it in another language. I'm like,
I
do
know,
I want to
right?
spend that same time? Maybe if I want to add more things to what I have said before. But
Mhm.
in a film like this where it's almost similar, maybe
Mhm.
I think it's just the attractiveness of reaching to more audiences. And
Yeah.
if this works next time, they, with the original idea, they can reach to more people. Because I
Right.
think definitely the original one is very culturally rooted.
Yeah.
A lot of things, a lot of nuances doesn't travel,
Okay.
for the general audiences outside that place. So I think in that sense, I believe, some good story it should be remade so it reaches the, everyone.
Yeah.
And you cannot be selfish. No, it's just great, so don't remake it. I
Yeah.
think story deserves to be, go and reach everyone.
That's true. So and then we go to the latest one, which we can talk
Yeah.
about that. We can talk about, I'd like to hear more about what you have to say about the cultural differences between the two of them, because they are different languages and different actors. I saw your review, so you can recap it a little bit here on what you thought about the new one, because I thought it was pretty blow away. I mean, I'm a sucker for a good polished, beautifully produced film, and I feel like the actors were just really, well, we'll say Hrithik Roshan. We'll say very like into it and very like almost a
Yeah.
revelation kind of a performance from an actor like that. So, what did you think of that movie overall?
uh, you know I totally enjoyed watching it in theaters. It it does like what original doesn't, try much to do. Doesn't, have that much emphasis to make things look cool.
Mhm.
This one, I think it comes inherently because the actors who are known for the style, and I think
Right.
that is very added organically into the narrative and with their performances. It doesn't feel like, wait, why is this character behaving like this?
Yeah.
It's very much into their performances. They've added that, a charisma.
Right.
And I think Ritik just pulls it off brilliantly. I think the moment he comes on screen, whenever he's on screen, just you are just glued to the screen. There's no
Seriously.
other thought.
Hmm.
And I think that's what didn't work when he was not on screen.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so his character Veda, a same character, same background, but very different than the original. And
Yeah.
it feels like two different people. So I think that really works well. Even if people who had seen the movie, they'll enjoy it even now,
Yeah.
just for the performance. If you like, for me, I had almost like forgotten the narrative, like, and the moment the we get into it, and I think post interval somewhere, it clicked me. I remembered, oh, the twist, final twist.
Yeah.
So I was now waiting for it to happen. But if the performances were not captivating enough, I think I would have lost interest. I'm like, just
Yeah.
get to the point. I don't care. I
That's
think
true.
it really worked with Ritik.
It really did. And what you were saying about, the production value overall, like,
Yeah,
that opening scene, that one shot, one tracking shot, that's always love seeing a good, one shot where they're tracking. It's very complicated. There's no cuts. They're just following these
yeah,
people through this complicated, location. And it's a group of people, really hard to pull off. Really impressive. So I saw that at the very beginning. I'm like, all right, this is good. And then you're right. Like Hrithik Roshan, he not only was he so intense and just so charismatic and you couldn't take your eyes off of him. He also had the character that was the most interesting. I mean, he had the most complex character arc. He was already, the crazy bad guy, which is always a lot more fun to play than the good guy.
yeah,
The good guy is always kind of bland, and I guess he did a good job at being bland. It's like, I was like, and it's not almost not his fault, because I feel like he was sort of doing this sort of blank, I'm the good guy, and that was sort of his shield in a way. I mean, I think he was playing it sort of like, no one can doubt me and how good I am, because look at me, I'm being a good guy and I'm saying all the right things, and I'm not betraying a lot of emotion. And then they start, as you said, going through, and you're getting into the twist, and you start realizing he is very emotional. He is having, um, you know, what he considered kind of weakness, I guess. So, but at the same time, I felt like if he had gone to that sooner, I think he might have been more relatable. And I didn't really believe any of the husband wife interactions at all, really. I mean, I really wanted more of that, because you
yeah,
never saw Hrithik Roshan with any, I should say Vedha. You never saw Vedha with any relationships. I mean,
mm,
it was his brother mostly. So that's where
yeah.
the heart of his emotional arc was. But I would have liked to have seen more of the conflict of interest between the cop and the lawyer having problems, working on the same case together, which would probably not work.
That I've heard that from a lot of many people who have seen Vikram Vedha,
Mm.
especially in the West.
Yeah.
So that is something we don't even think about.
Yeah.
That it's not, we are not that, like, conflict of interest is
Right.
like not a big concept known to everyone.
That's true.
So we're not questioning if that's even possible. We just see the the drama they are trying to create with that
Yeah.
and the tension they are creating with it.
Yeah.
But definitely the with Saf's character, right? The Vikram's character is, I think, I would say he's more ruthless in and more
Mm,
dangerous because he thinks he's good and that's why he's
yeah.
doing it, right?
He's
And that's
justified.
more, yeah. And Vikram Veda is like, he's like he's a gangster. He'll do. We can expect
Yeah.
him to do it. But
Right.
when Vikram does it, it's more, oh shit, he's really
Yeah.
doing that. So he's like going. He doesn't care.
Nope.
So I think that just makes him more. I think what R. Madhavan did in the original, he just makes it more real.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know, maybe I have to watch it again,
Yeah.
the original, the remake, but I just didn't connect with Saf's cat. I
Mm,
just and rewatching original again, there are so many moments which I had complaints about in the remake, that even the way they're shot with the same cinematographer, the
oh yeah.
the 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 framing is off.
Huh,
There's
that's
no,
interesting.
it feels like they didn't have time to shoot.
Mm,
Like there's so many moments in the original where it's just a black screen, but there's just a window cut and you see two characters talking there, and that
yeah.
is just so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the same scene when I saw it in the remake, it's
Mm,
just flat, just in front, and two characters are standing there
right.
talking.
They're just
So it just
centered.
all these things.
Mm,
uh, if you remember that scene where they're drinking
yes.
after the first encounter
Hmm.
in the remake, it's just the fire in front of them. He has just went inside to the with his boss
Hmm.
and then came back, and just two of them talking to each other, that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas in the remake, when original, their backs are towards each other. One guy's looking this side, one is looking right, and talking to each other, and that also
Mm,
adds the thematic value that they have a different viewpoint.
that's right.
And Madhan's performance in that is more subtle. When his friend says, after my son, we can't even sleep, so he's not like, oh, don't worry and all. He just understands what's happening.
Right.
And this is small, and whereas Saf is like, oh, don't worry, it's all okay. No, it's not.
It's
So
not okay.
act, you're acting as if like you have to say this line. You're not
Yeah.
acting as if you're feeling it. So Seth is he's way better than this. I know him. I've
Yeah.
seen him perform way better than this. And his scenes with Hrithik are amazing. He
Yeah.
stands on its own because Hrithik is just a powerhouse in this one.
Yeah.
He steals the limelight, but still he makes a presence felt in those
That's
scenes.
true.
But whenever he's alone, it just falls flat. So I really wonder what happened behind the scenes. They didn't have time to rehearse.
Hmm.
Something was going wrong, or they reshot it quickly, or like I don't know. But
Yeah.
there's definitely a difference of quality.
That is a very interesting observation because I wonder too when you have someone across the table from you, which a lot of his scenes were across from the table, which I really liked. I loved the just in a dark room, just them talking.
Yeah,
That was fantastic. When you're bouncing off of another great actor like that who's giving you stuff to work with, you can get better. You
yeah,
could feel like he felt very tightly coiled. Like that's when you felt like there was something else going on underneath the surface. But you're right. Every other scene where he's out swaggering around and doing stuff, you didn't feel that coiled anger, that sort of inner rage that he definitely had. Um, and also, I think Roshan, his Vedha was way more crazy than the
yeah,
original played it,
yeah,
and that made it actually really fun because you think he's crazy, but he's not. So spoilers. And they seem to spend a lot of time framing these great action sequences with him. Like it wasn't just a camera sitting there watching him shoot. Like they would have
yeah.
that him, with the AK-47 and the camera's rolling around him and it's going over and under and he's just looking and he's kneeling down, he's standing up, and it was a super dynamic, crazy scene. But then when he was with Vikram and Vidha together, were like fantastic and dynamic, and
Yeah.
it was funny too to see just everything, the physicality of Hrithik inhabiting the character. It was the way he walked. You could recognize
Yeah.
him in a crowd of people. He had this big long stride and these arms very intense. And then you could tell he was doing a lot of his own stunts because he's trained. He could do he's leaping. You could tell it was him. It wasn't fake. Whereas so even the physicality of them was very different.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that juxtaposition, but there was just sort of this loose flowing naturalism that Vedha had that just wasn't with Vikram. It just wasn't happening.
And I
Um,
think the contrast makes it very obvious.
yeah.
That just when one stands out too much, you like realize, oh, something is not working on the other side, right?
And what is it like the minute the bad guy comes on the screen and he looks like friggin' Mel Gibson? or something. I was gonna say these eyes, these hair. Mel Gibson on one of his bad days was super dynamic, intense. Why do we love the bad guys? Why is it like from the very beginning you're on his side, pretty much? Even in the original, I was on the bad guy side. I knew there was more going on here. It's like, but
Yeah.
there was something about his performance that just drew you in. You just wanted you wanted him on screen. When he was on screen, nothing else mattered. It was like just get him back on screen. We had to wait so long to see him too.
Yeah.
I liked how they built it up though. It was like, where's Vedha? Where's Vedha? We gotta find him. He's over here. He's over here. Oh, he jumped off a building and cut someone in half. It's just like, wow, what's this guy? And then you see him and he's this grizzled, crazy looking guy with a gun. He just sort of turns it in. It was so funny. But I really enjoyed it. I'd seen a few Hrithik movies. I'd seen War and Bang Bang. And I did not expect this from him. I've seen a lot of his superficial stuff. I haven't seen his latest before this where he was a school teacher, but it did not expect this from him. I don't know if you did. I don't know if you saw that he had this in him to do.
I think from the trailer itself, I was really into his what he was trying to do, because it just even in the action sequence with the AK-47 scene, you see the happiness on his face. He's enjoying it.
Yeah.
I think that was not a part of the character with the original, because he's just quiet. He's just doing it because it has to be done.
He was kind of noble,
whereas,
quietly noble.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here he was, more majestic. I saw the original where it's like his cat also has this quirkiness to him, really goofing around, and when the rain action sequence in the original, when he's hitting him, he's like, "Sorry, sir, please, please don't, sir, don't hit me." Whereas here, just with his actions, like, "Wait, give me a second, yeah, come now."
Yeah, it's like,
he's not like, you cannot take me down like this. Like, I'm not gonna plead, or he has that aura to him.
Yes.
So I think maybe that's something people like more in this part of the country which the film is meant for.
Yes.
Whereas maybe that culturally works with Vijay Sethupath's character.
Are you seeing in your reviews, are you seeing comments, comparing the two and how favorably it's being received by people who like the original film, original language? Are you seeing any, criticisms of, the differences?
Not much, I guess. I think when the trailer came out, everyone was really impressed. And first time, most times when it happens, they're like, "This is bad. The original is best," and all. This time, I saw, they like maybe said that in the comments, this is like a more commercial and loud version, but I enjoy this. This will work for the audience, and we are okay with it. It's okay. So I think they also see that.
Pleasure.
They also see it as it's like a different version of that same film.
Yeah. And it's strong enough to remake. Like you said, let the people make some money, bring it on in. I mean, we do a lot of remakes here in the West too, where they find a cool little indie film and then they remake it in a big budget, huge thing with a new director and new actors and everything. And it's terrible. A lot of that happens with horror movies, like a horror movie that's a small movie that's a big deal, it gets remade, and the big Hollywood machine takes everything that makes the original good out of it.
Yeah.
Where I think the advantage to where you get the same directors to come in and they know the sensibility of the new audience for the remake, but they're bringing in still their original intent and their original vision, but sort of adapting it. And I think the money gives them a little more flexibility. Maybe there was stuff they couldn't afford to do in the first one that they then were like, "Oh, good, we get to have all this cool camera work."
I think
cool shots.
Talked about one scene where Hrithik jumps off with a sword and cuts the guy in half. That's just a dialogue in the original,
right?
They didn't have the money to do that, so I think the fans were
got
happy
to see it this time.
Yeah.
Sort of, almost didn't quite. It wasn't that movie, but
it was I think same length as it was in the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. You've seen it in the trailer. It's exactly the same cut. They didn't even cut away. It was the same. And then I went with I've heard also other comments that they thought the sound design was really well done in this film. And it hadn't occurred to me at the time, but as I'm thinking about it, I was like, every little detail was sort of dialed in. Like even when like put their hand on the wheel of a car, you could kind of feel the texture. You can, there's a little bit of ambient sound behind them that could tell you where they were in the city. That was really nicely done. Like they really spent some time and care. So I didn't feel like this was sort of a throw off just to make money. It still felt like they really cared and did a really good production because they really wanted this to be a good movie and not just like a cash grab.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciated. So I would say both movies are worth seeing. The surprise will be gone. Like I knew, but since I'd seen the original, I knew what the twists were, but it was fun to see
Yeah,
them kind of play out again in kind of a new way,
yeah.
new
I
actors.
feel like I saw the original way back before watching this, so I didn't want to watch it, so I like watch it more without knowing much. So but still, like by the half time, I understood. Oh, I know where this is going. But still, I think, as I said, it's just it's still interesting to watch. It's not like
It is.
some films, once you know the twist and thrill, suddenly you just notice some weird things in the film and like, oh, it's a bad film.
That's true. So, as sort of some parting words, what would you recommend as two of the films that we should watch that these two actors starred in, Khan and Roshan? What do you think of the two movies people should see after this? Where they're like, oh my God, who are these actors? What would you
I think we
recommend?
have seen the teacher one, right, with Super 30,
Super 30, I have not seen it.
where he's played the teacher.
Okay.
Hrithik plays the teacher. I think
Okay.
you just
I've
mentioned
seen the
it.
trailer,
Okay, okay. I think
but I haven't
that
seen the movie.
that's
Okay.
definitely something you should check out.
Okay.
There's a film Guzarish. It's by Sanjay Leela Bhansali.
Okay.
One of the best Hrithik films.
Okay.
It's just
Well,
very
I haven't seen
interesting.
that.
It's no action, nothing like that. It's a Aishwarya Rai Bachchan also.
Okay.
It's gorgeous film. You'll love it.
Okay. Good. I
I,
think I know. I think I know
I'm not
which film
sure
you're
if
talking
you'll
about.
love it or not, but okay.
I don't know if you're gonna love it or not. I pretty much am loving everything I see because it's all new to me. It's all brand
Yeah.
new, and I love the sensibility. I love the look into a new culture and seeing how they treat some of the same tropes, like the film tropes, taking it and making it their own. I love seeing that. It gives it an unpredictability that I like because you see an action film, like I said, and you already can kind of tell where it's going. But when you're seeing Indian films, you think you know where it's going, but it's not. Like there's a new twist, which I really like. What about
Uh,
con
about
movies?
Seth, let me just go through his filmography.
Okay, let's go through his filmography.
Because he's someone who's done a lot of work, and
Uh-huh.
he's one of the actors, who doesn't mind doing multi-starrer. Like he's just happy just doing a movie.
I love that.
So yes, I'm getting a lot of his like characters in my head, but not a film. Which, like
I put you on the spot.
he did a film which didn't really do well. Which is on, I think, on Amazon. It's called Lal Kaptan.
Okay.
It's set way, I think, in the initial years of the East India Company taking over, and but it's not about that. It's like about Western revenge,
Oh,
but
okay.
set in 18 se- 17th century, I would say, around
Okay.
that time. So it's very, like, for us, it was a very unique way of, and I think that's even a time period not explored apart from the freedom struggle.
Right.
So I'm always fascinated about stories set in that time, which is not about freedom, about like local people, what their life was,
Right.
what happening to them. Like not everyone was like, oh, we want freedom. They have their daily life. They have to
Yeah.
do some work. So
That's
I
true.
like those kind of films which explore that.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that's definitely one. But I'm just going
Great.
through. Come on, there are few good ones. Like there's a zombie comedy film, Go Goa Gone.
Oh, we did
Everyone,
a trailer review, and I keep meaning to go
yeah,
back to watch that because I love
yeah,
horror comedies, so I'll definitely watch that. Was that like the first Indian zombie movie?
kinda. I think so. Yeah,
I love that. They
and
did a good job.
it had a very Western sensibility, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it more.
For my
There's a film
Western
called
sensibilities.
uh, I'm sure someone in the comments like, dude, why didn't you say that movie and that movie? And
I know. Well,
there
yeah,
are
we get those.
there are some which I have not seen myself, so I don't want to name them yet.
Okay. They're going. It's
So I
like
don't know
you
if
told me to watch this movie and it sucked.
no, what I've heard about the movie, it's outstanding, but I just don't want to say it right now.
Definitely want to
Maybe
see.
when I watch it then.
I have a lot of catching up to do, so I am up for watching all and any because even if they're not as great, it's still there's some entertainment value to a lot of these. I haven't
See
even
if you.
found the preference yet of like what genre
Oh, that's
exactly yet.
interesting. I
I
think
not
genre way it's easy to like catch more,
yeah.
but like even like if you even watch 3 movies a day, I don't think you'll be able to finish in this lifetime.
I every time I think I'm running out of films, there's like a huge amount that come up behind it. You haven't seen this and you haven't seen this. Like we've seen a lot of the trailers. Like we're starting with like trying to cover trailer reactions.
Yeah,
And then I want to go back and watch all these movies and you just have to they're long. They're very long movies. But again, thank you
Oh
so
shit! I
much.
didn't.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
go
There's
ahead. Tell me more.
one. When you said long, I remembered. I don't know if you have seen the trailer for it, Jodha Akbar.
Which one is it?
Jodha Akbar. It's a period drama
Oh,
about a
is that?
Mughal king played by Hrithik Roshan,
Yes,
and
yes.
it's like almost 4 hours,
Oh my god.
and it's I've seen it multiple times. Like
Is that good? So it's good.
it's great. It's great.
Okay,
It's
I'm
it's
definitely watching it.
beautiful. It's slow. It's not like it's not a thriller. It's like period drama, politics, romance,
Kind
all
of Game of
mixed together.
Thrones-ish.
Ah, okay.
Period,
I'll not go
romance,
there.
politics, and lots of beheadings. Done. That's all we need. No, I love that. And I say I don't like rom-coms, and yet I loved this is technically a rom-com, but I love the Lunchbox. But I mostly like crime and thrillers and dramas and stuff like that. So, but then the
Yeah.
Lunchbox is so refreshingly great. So I really want to catch up on everything that's good. I'm working on it. But we'll definitely have you back because I love hearing your perspective on this. I know I have a lot to learn and I want to learn it. And so we're definitely we're gonna pick some great movies and just go over them. They're not necessarily gonna be new, but I would love to hear your perspective on old classic films. I think we know what we're talking about.
Definitely, definitely.
All right. So everybody make sure you check out Nona Prince. Amazing, amazing reviews. Knows his shit. And we will see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.